It's been over a week since Demon Slayer Season 3 concluded. So now that everyone's had time to see the ending, we're going to talk about was this season successful. Now of course if you've not seen Season 3, go watch it because I don't want you crying about spoilers. But if you have seen Season 3, come along for the adventure to talk about it as well as let me know in the comments what you thought about it. And also there's another season along the way with 2 big bangers. So if you want to stay in the loop, subscribe to the channel and like this video. It helps me out tremendously, so thank you very much and let's get started. Demon Slayer most recently finished off their 3rd season for the anime called the Swordsmith Village. Now the question I like to ask you is, was this season better than the previous 2 seasons? You see, majority of the times as an anime fan, you want to make sure that your series is progressing. Previously, we made a video talking about Demon Slayer's tedious formula. The formula about the main character Tanjiro going on an adventure because he's doing something else irrelevant. Sometimes he's just pulled into an arc and has nothing to do with the situation. However, Tanjiro being inside the Swordsmith Village arc was a coincidence. A great way you can tell is the side characters are not added in. Zenitsu and Inosuke are both not a part of this arc. While for some people that's literally a bummer, realistically it makes this arc feel a little bit more natural. If you recall, back in the Entertainment District arc, Zenitsu and Inosuke appear out of nowhere. They just so happen to finish their training and mission soon as something was about to happen. But good news is they don't force anyone to be a part of this arc, and that's honestly for the best. Regardless, back to the regular Demon Slayer formula, Tanjiro is off doing whatever he needs to do, and it just so happens that some upper ranked demons decide to attack the village. These demons are number 4 Hantengu and number 5 Gyoko. If I am saying these names incorrectly, then please Lord forgive me for my sins. During the same time that these demons attack, it just so happens that some hashira are chilling around doing nothing. Both of the hashira, Michiro and Mitsuri, help Tanjiro and friends fight this long battle. The difference between this fight and other upper moon fights is that nobody dies here. Well, I should say that nobody really important dies here. Actually, it's a step further because the main characters are barely even injured. Back in the 2nd season, Uzui wasn't even able to continue to be a hashira anymore. However, with this fight, it does feel that everybody got a pat on the wrist and continue forward. There are several possibilities as to why it felt this way. The first one being is that they actually did get stronger. We see both of the hashira unlock their markings, which will play a huge critical role in the future. But is it enough that one hashira can solo a whole up-ranked demon by himself? It's kind of difficult to say. Another possibility is because they didn't want to take away from the big hitter at the end of the season. As a viewer, you're shown that not only Nezuko is immune to the sun, but she can talk. Now this was going to happen at some point, and you know for a fact that she was never going to die. But it sure did feel as if the Hantengu and Gyoko were much weaker or not as important compared to Daki and Gyutaro. Technically speaking, Hantengu's strongest form was never really defeated. But are these upper ranked demons memorable enough to be mentioned in the future? Gyoko looked like one of the most interesting upper ranked demons that fell flat. Amongst the upper ranked demons, he's the only one that doesn't have a humanoid figure. He's a demon that can appear from anywhere at any time from a vase. He also has a weird design where his eye sockets have mouths and then he has hands around his ears. You get the idea, you can look him up. But the problem with this upper ranked demon is he didn't even get a backstory. Now as a dedicated viewer, we know that Hantengu, Daki, and Gyutaro all have their own backstories. However, Ufotable decided that Fishman just doesn't get one. It's actually very sad and he's put down like he's worth nothing. If you go ahead and search on Big Boy Named Google, you'll see that he does have a backstory, but it's so pitiful you understand why they didn't want to animate it. Apparently when he was living, he started doing unrealistic freaky things to fish.
Jesus Christ.
Yep, that's it. That's all I have to say about him. He was probably the worst upper ranked demon thus far. It's a letdown too because he got soloed by one singular demon slayer anyways. But hey, at least he had a cool design, right? Now the real prize as a villain here is Hantengu. This villain is doing what we thought Gyutaro and Daki actually did, which is splitting up. You see, instead of caring about fish all day long, he has the ability to split into different forms depending on their emotions. There are several different emotions, and each one of these emotions not only has their own set abilities, but their own personality. Hantengu also has the ability to combine multiple emotions together to create hatred. Now it's unclear if he has another form if he combines every single one of them together. Both fear and resentment were not combined to make hatred. Now to some of you it may sound like I'm just being a prophet, but if you don't understand what I'm talking about, go watch the show, you'll get what I'm trying to say. Anyways, Hantengu is able to fight 4 different protagonists including a hashira, and the most interesting part is his biggest and strongest form was actually not defeated. Now this does give a nice flavor to Demon Slayer because you don't have to be the strongest to win a fight. Instead, they beat Hantengu by simply finding his weakest point and beating that. Unlike Fish Boy, Hantengu also got a backstory that they showed in the anime. Crazy, right? In his backstory, we find out that he was a kleptomaniac. Now, this is a term that I would bet money for that many people have not heard of what this is. But without me taking out the PhD, basically he couldn't stop himself from looting someone else. Yeah, that's right, he's a thief. Now, this is a mental disorder and it did cause his death in his human life. But good news is his demon abilities play along with his human personality, or human disorder I should say. As mentioned before, Hantengu fights several different demon slayers and is killed by the main one. But he for sure was the main villain of this arc. But enough about the villains, we should also talk about the two new main protagonists. In season 3 of Demon Slayer, we're blessed with the double M's. We have two Hashira this time, so we should briefly go over their backstories. When it comes to the Mist Hashira, he once had a twin brother, but they were attacked by a demon. Once they were attacked, he was unfortunately the only sole survivor of the incident. Afterwards, he was nursed back to health and he let his rage take over. It does seem that he forgot that he had a twin brother at some point, but regardless, he had a very sad backstory and that's why he became a Demon Slayer. Now on the other hand, the Love Hashira was actually living in a very great family. Surprisingly, there's no traumatic backstory when it comes to Mitsuri. She lived in a loving, happy family with all of her family members still alive. However, she was so big girl strong that she couldn't find a suitor. She was so big girl strong that nobody wanted to marry her, which is very shocking because the guy that we saw turn her down said that he just didn't like her pink hair. I mean, he said other things, but that was one of them. You'd think he would go ahead and pick her, especially because she has other things to offer. But because of that, she became a Demon Slayer to hopefully find a man that's stronger than her. Now, when it comes to both of these characters, they don't really have any positive things going on right now compared to another Hashira that's just living the life of luxury. But good news, these Hashira do stand out just like the previous ones we've seen. We are also introduced to Genya, who is the younger brother of another Hashira. Now, if you want to talk about a sad story, he ain't got no one else. His whole family was slaughtered by his mother, who became a demon. Now, I don't want to talk about his story too much because I'm sure we'll talk about him again. But now that we have all of the characters laid out and the story, let's talk about how great this season was. I mentioned in a previous video, which you can check out over here, that this is Demon Slayer's regular formula. And honestly, nothing really changes. You could say that this is even more Demon Slayer than other seasons. But the big thing about Studio Ufotable, which you already know, is they never lack on animation. For some people, it is true that Demon Slayer's story is not very immersive. But honestly, what you're about to be immersed in are these jokes and this animation. And hey, season 3 does not disappoint. They have already confirmed that there is going to be another season in the near future. Isn't that a shocker? But we are also on the downhill of Demon Slayer. There's probably only 3 seasons left at max, and how they're cutting away at these upper moons, it may be even less. But anyways, I'm here to tell you that season 3 was a banger. The Swordsmith Village season was magnificent, and with confidence, this season was not worse, but also not better than the previous two. Again, I'm assuming if you made it to the end of this video, you've seen it already. So tell me what you think about season 3 Swordsmith Village in the comments down below. If you want to see more Demon Slayer content, subscribe to this channel. Here's my Patreon as well if you want to show more support. But we'll for sure be having another Demon Slayer conversation in the near future. But for now, check out this video over here if you want more Demon Slayer content, and y'all take care. Peace.